there is now scientific evidence of the afterlife. There is now scientific evidence that consciousness continues beyond the death of this body. Near-death experiences have now been validated, even passing the test put forth by the late great skeptic Carl Sagan. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. If you're interested in the great questions of life and the great mysteries of this universe, discussions on God, faith, religion, philosophy, then I want to ask you to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Hit the subscribe button right now if you haven't already, and the notification bell so that you get updates every time I upload a new video discussing the many great questions and mysteries of this life. Now, a while back, while Carl Sagan was alive, he put forth a test in a chapter in one of his books where he talked about pseudoscience and where many people make claims. And of course, if people make great claims, it's important to test those claims under controlled conditions. That's how science works, to see if the claims are accurate, to see if they're true. And once when talking about astral projection, people that believe that they can leave their bodies and travel on the astral plane, he put forth a test. And that test involved laying the individual who made the claim that they can astral project on a couch. And unbeknownst to them, there was a card high up on the fridge or on the top of a bookshelf that something was written on it. And then the scientist or whoever it was doing the test wrote a word or a number or a phrase, maybe a black marker or something like that, and put it high up where there was no way for the test subject to be able to see it. And so the idea is if that person can really astral project, they would leave their body, float up, look on top of the fridge or on top of the bookshelf, read the card, come back to their body, and tell the scientist doing the test what was written on the card. And that test was put forward to see if people could astral project. But probably unwillingly, this has proven the phenomena of near-death experiences thousands of times over. You see, of the thousands and thousands of examples of near-death experiences, many of them include incidents where the individual is in a hospital hovering over the body of their former selves, and they look around the room and they see tools that the surgeons are using or that the doctors are using. They overhear conversations in the room when they're unconscious or dead. And they leave the room, they hear conversations that are outside of the room, maybe in the hallway, in the waiting room by family members, and they come back and they look around. Even people that were born blind from birth are able to describe the tools being used in the room, in the surgery room. Or even if the death took place somewhere else, they're able to describe the things around them accurately and hear conversations. Now, how is this different than the test that Carl Sagan put forth to test to see the validity of astral projection? In fact, it's the same test. If indeed somebody left their body, they would be able to float around and see, and then essentially what they're doing by describing the tools that they wouldn't otherwise be able to see from their vantage points of their death, they're able to describe the tools, things in the room. They're able to hear conversations. They're able to describe things outside of the room. And this obviously passes that test put forth by Carl Sagan to validate a phenomenon, not for astral projection, but for near-death experiences. And so this is amazing news that you really have to take in and consider the consequences. There is consciousness after death. There's not just this void of nothingness after we die. We don't just rot into the ground. The individual soul, whatever you want to call it, who you are, your mind, whatever it is that's you, really you, continues on beyond the death of this body. And it passes Carl Sagan's test. And so I don't hear a lot of people talk about this, but I was familiar with Carl Sagan and his test, and I realized that it can apply to near-death experiences. And this is amazing because it passes the test, it is scientific, and certain scientists have studied this, doctors have made it a personal mission to document this data. And it is data, it's qualitative data And even though people experience going through a tunnel, seeing light, seeing family members, doing life reviews, things like that, those things are very subjective and you can't really test to see if they're true. But what you can test is to see if the things they describe in the room are accurate, things that they could not have seen. If the conversations that were had are accurate, things that they could not have possibly heard consciously, right? If those things are true. And so you do interviews with the doctors, with the nurses, with the family members in the waiting room. You can discuss all of these things and to see if these things are accurate. And what they find is, amazingly, that everything they described is completely accurate. So this is amazing news. Anyone who tells you that when you die, you just cease to exist, you can now tell them that there's scientific proof that near-death experiences are legit, that they are real, that the consciousness continues beyond the death of this body, and that near-death experiences are a phenomenon that passed the test put forth by the late, great skeptic, scientist, Carl Sagan. It's amazing. So let your friends know, share this video if you enjoyed it, and let them know that near-death experiences are real and that there is an afterlife and that our consciousness continues beyond the death of this body. It's very exciting. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and, of course, share it. Show people that there is now scientific evidence that there is an afterlife. My name's Edgar Ortega, Handsome Blind Guy. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and let me know in a comment if you believe that this evidence is valid. Of course it is. It is qualitative evidence, but let me know in a comment if you believe that there is an afterlife, or even after watching this video, if you don't think there's an afterlife, let me know and why. But otherwise, I'll see you in a future video. And be sure to keep looking out for more questions on the great mysteries of life on this channel. I'll see you, or you'll see me, in a future video.